Right, welcome ladies and gents. Warner Brothers executive is now admitting, yeah, the movie didn't land. And I've got a lot of articles today all about this, to be honest. But yeah, I wanted to lead with this. Warner Brothers has admitted that Joker Folie has bombed. So they admit it. They admit that it's bombed. There is also some like bizarre Lady Gaga same-sex kiss thing they were going to do. I mean, sure, whatever. Like, who cares about this? Honestly, who actually cares? But it's a huge bomb. It's an epic failure. You know, Joker Folie opened in theatres this weekend to overwhelmingly negative reviews and a dismal debut of $40 million, putting it in the same ballpark box office-wise as Morbius. There are some people, even in my comments, that think that the negative word of mouth will actually do well for this movie. This movie is going to absolutely crater next week. It's going to absolutely crater next week. So analysts will no doubt spend weeks trying to figure out where it all went wrong. Yep, I'm sure they will, because they're all idiots. Pretty obvious where this went wrong. So one of the first major projects greenlit under the current leadership. This Joker sequel has now proven to be a major misstep for David Zaslav. I mean, greenlighting a sequel was a smart decision. Greenlighting this sequel was not the smart decision. So Jeff Goldstein, who is Warner Brothers' president of domestic distribution, is now telling the Wall Street Journal, quote, "The movie didn't land with audiences the way we wanted it to." Yeah, because, we know, it's bombed. He'd later add that this movie was a deeper dive into mental illness, arguing that some of its core male audience struggled to connect with Lady Gaga. You what, mate? You what? I mean, that's absurd, isn't it? So you're trying to claim that actually we just couldn't connect with Lady Gaga. No, the whole film was garbage. So here's the article, and they've done pretty well with Beetlejuice. So they've not done terribly. Well, Warner Brothers hasn't anyway. But this is them absolutely failing hugely here. And here's the quote. "The movie didn't land with audiences the way that we wanted it to." Yep. I mean, this is just... Yeah, like, we know it didn't land. Of course it didn't land. I mean, this has absolutely destroyed itself. And they say here, the addition of Lady Gaga and the decision to shoot in LA also raised the price tag. Right. But Lady Gaga was only 10 million. Joaquin Phoenix and Todd Phillips were 20 million. So yeah, the studio appears to be telling itself that Joker Folie flopped because guys don't like serious dramas or women. That's apparently what they think, which is just nonsense. So interestingly, the site adds that this movie's $200 million budget doesn't include marketing costs, so Warner Brothers Discovery losses on this thing, or losses, sorry, on this thing are going to be huge. They're going to be huge. It needs at the very least 450 odd million to break even. It's way more than that. So the rep reveals, quote, "Insiders at the studio say that while they're disappointed with how the weekend has unfolded, they stand by the decision to give Phillips free reign to make the sequel that he wanted." Well, they're stupid then, aren't they? Like, that's really, really dumb. And Entertainment Weekly's now shared an excerpt from an interview with Todd Phillips and asked why a scene with Lady Gaga kissing a female protester outside the courthouse isn't in the final cut. It had dialogue in it, and all of a sudden I wanted it to be more of a music and vibe moment. So for that moment to have played, it needed dialogue behind it, meaning the woman said something and then Gaga stopped and did this thing, and it just kind of got in the way of the moment. Sure, fine. I don't think anyone gives a shit. Francis Ford Coppola has now come out and been like, "Oh yeah, Todd Phillips has always been one step ahead of the audience." What? One step ahead of the audience into the ditch? I mean, this is bizarre, but alright, Francis. Ever since the wonderful The Hangover, he's always been one step ahead of the audience, never doing what they expect. Congratulations to Joker Folie. Mate, shut up. No. Like, seriously, shut up. That's ridiculous. That's actually ridiculous. But it gets worse. Or at least there's more commentary about it anyway. We're hearing loads of stuff in retrospect. So There's a scene with Harvey Dent, and that was supposed to be his origin as Two-Face. So he was asked about it. He says, yes, of course. We're trying to put a realistic answer to why certain things happen. Why does he have that face? Sure, fine. The filmmaker goes on to note the audience is meant to view that moment as Dent's metamorphosis into the character. He adds that Lorty is playing the character before that character. He's the young DA. All we're doing is saying, let's use this lore as a foundation, but run through a realistic lens. Or at least a different lens than it's been run through in other things to make it our own. And he also makes a comment about... he makes a comment about the end where there's the sort of new Joker thing going on as well, which is always, you know, a little bit comical as well. And apparently this is a thing as well. People are now doing like lip read videos from the Venice premiere. So this is a thing. This movie is just a disaster. So Todd Phillips' Joker Folie Deux had its world premiere at Venice Film Festival last month and was greeted with a 12.5-minute standing ovation, because they all filleted each other as well, I'm sure. Despite this warm reception, which you should never take seriously. The reviews that followed were mixed, so that was dumb. And now that the movie's in theatres, we know that the majority of critics and audiences actually hated the sequel. So that 12.5-minute standing ovation was utter bollocks. It does actually look like maybe the leads think the same. So some video clips from the Venice premiere have now been shared online with supposed lip reader technology applied to decipher what stars Joaquin Phoenix and Lady Gaga were saying to each other during the standing ovation. While Gaga's responses do seem to line up, it's far more difficult to figure out if Phoenix's words match the subtitles or if it's just complete nonsense, basically. But it looks like he's saying sort of like horrible or something like that. So... well, I mean, look, who knows if that is what he's saying, but he doesn't seem very happy, does he? He doesn't seem very happy at all. Even there, he's like, yeah, not very happy. Oh, I don't know. Sort of see it there. Like it's horrible. Oh, I don't know. This is all over the place. Who knows? This movie's a disaster. Warner Brothers know it. They admit it bombs. They've admitted it. It's not landed. Didn't land. Yeah. No, it didn't, mate.